After we have our spars glued together, we're gonna concentrate on the wing. On the plans, you're gonna find those markings, and they are basically to find the location where the power pods and motor mount's gonna go. And obviously they're gonna be cut out after we're gonna assemble the wing, so I strongly recommend you to find the corners and pierce right through the foam so you have the markings on the other side, on top of the wing, so you can connect those lines, and then that's gonna indicate where the motor mount's gonna go. Double bevel, standard flight test technique, and on the back of the wing, on the trailing edge, there's gonna be a spar. It would be too much if I put 5mm spar, the thickness of the foam, so I designed this, and you need to cut that groove and then make a B-fold, so that plate will be beside the bottom of the wing. Now we are going to join the wings. We'll have to glue this support, kind of a joiner. You can make it from the plywood. We're gonna glue it right here in the front of the spar towards the leading edge. Glue in the leading edge, glue on the spar, and glue on the trailing edge. Before we form the other wing, we need to establish the dihedral and glue this joiner to the spar. So you need to take your dihedral gauge, have it ready, something to weigh it down unless you want to hold it for a few good minutes. Plenty of glue for our joiner. Glue here in the spars. You need to route the cables through this later on, so be aware of this. And lift it up, put your dihedral gauge under the wing and weigh it down and squeeze the spar. Remember, don't go too crazy with the glue, just try to force it into that cavity because it corresponds with the edges of the spar. So we don't want it to glue the spar yet, and avoid the motor mount area. Open this up, make a bevel, install servo. I put the reference lines here for control horns. On that flat section of the wing here, you will need to cut out the relief for cables, because the motor cables will go through this, and servo cables as well are going to go through that hole. you take your stiffener and you glue it right on the edge of that bottom plate, just before the creases on that portion. Before you do this step, make sure you install your servos first. That should feed right here. That's actually not bad. We're gonna concentrate on that top plate first. So once that's all in, I'm going to go and get the glue gun. Once that top plate is glued, we're gonna leave those tabs as much as we can, and we will glue that. This is the last time when you can actually adjust anything, so I would suggest you have a square handy. Apply a bit of the glue here. And on over the top. And before it sets, apply a glue here. And put them together. Now we need to cut out those slots for links. Once that's glued together, we need to just trim it. Okay, there's also kind of a center brace, just to make sure that it's not gonna fold. Somewhere roughly in the middle will be fine, as long as it's flush with that surface. There's that front top plate. Basically, again, glue here just to make it nice and smooth on the other side as well. Okay, on your plans there's gonna be a part called hatch cardboard cover, and it's basically a piece of cardboard, and you try to wrap it around and create a windshield. Take it roughly to the middle. There should be plenty of paper on both sides, so it's gonna cover the fuselage. And on that side, this nice and smooth curve that goes to the top. Let's try. And I'm going to glue it to that front section. Turn it upside down. Take a pen, a pencil, and just mark the edge of the fuselage on the cardboard. You have those marks. Scissors and trim it. Okay, now we're going to put together the motor mounts and power pods. There is a slight taper on the back edge. That's because each wing is different, so you need to make sure that your right power pods go with right motor mount. You need to remove foam here to fold it over so it looks good, and it's a fold. So let's do that. Same thing with power pods, it's a fold as usual. So okay, now once we have our motor mounts glued together and the power pods, you're gonna slide the power pod. Make sure that you got a left power pod to the left motor mount, otherwise you will have problems to fit it together. And then you have two doublers, one is wing side and one is fuse side. So the way it works because the wing is going wider and wider as it goes towards the fuselage. That taper, whenever that taper is closer to the edge, that's the fuselage side, and you're gonna use the fuselage side doubler. And the way to do it is that back edge needs to be aligned with that back edge. So once you have them all, once you have that all aligned, if you slide the power pod, it should match. Those lines should match. And then when you try the other doubler, this back edge should be on that back edge, so something like this, and that's gonna get glued onto the wing. So if something is not right, if you have a gaps and it doesn't fit, you probably have a wrong power pod. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hold it like that, and I'm gonna glue the doubler now, and then on the other side. This doubler got two functions. One is to double up the surface that's gonna get glued onto the spar, and the other one is to stop the foam from collapsing for our cover. So it's gonna go only to some certain point, and that will prevent it from collapsing if you accidentally don't press on it or something. And now glue the other one on the other side, just like the first one. What I ended up doing, I had to cut a little bit of relief to pass the wing through. It might be case in your build, maybe not. I'll mark that on the plans as well. So that's the wing installed. That slides into the fuselage and under the wing. I'm going to cut the reliefs for power pods. It is quite important to make it as straight as possible and as true to the marks you made when you were assembling the wing. I recommend you to get a brand new blade for that. Okay, once we have our motor mounts and power pod assembled, we can test fit it. If everything fits, we can glue it. On the back portion of the top cover, you will see that this motor mount ends shorter here than over there. Once you have that put together, you just mark on that cover the place where that side ends and just cut it with an angle. Then take a knife and try to shave it with an angle, so it actually gonna go taper right to the very paper, and it will nicely transition into the wing surface. Cover for the motor mounts. Again, you remove the foam on both sides, and on the front is the fold over to make it look good. Okay, so it should look something like this. I'm going to include STL files. This is air intake. All you need to do is to cut the slot here, so you're gonna have a airflow going to the motor and to the ESC, sorry. And once you know where you're going to have all this sitting, this is an exhaust, so you can try it, trace it and cut it out so you have a nice steady flow over your ESC. There is a foam board version of this, 2 pieces of foam that are going in like this, maybe not like this, right? You cut the middle portion to make an airflow, and takes a poster board and just glue it on top of that. That's the, I think, easiest version for someone who does not have a 3D printer, and make the exhaust hole on the back.